is a beginner's course, and the only thing that you are supposed to know is the Greek alphabet. So the words are written in Greek. You have to be able to read them or eventually pronounce them in Greek. But you do not need any other background information or Greek lessons. So in this lesson you will learn about the different shops in Greece, which shops there are and what are their names. Also, you will learn what you can buy in a bakery or fournos, in a sandwich bar, sandwich sadiko, or in a pastry shop. For the intermediate Greek language learners, I believe that the vocabulary will be useful because the vocabulary we will give here is not something you will find easily in other Greek textbooks. The different kind of shops. First, Terpsy will read for you the names with the Greek pronunciation, and then I will get back to you with some more details per shop.
Γεια σας, είμαι η Τέρψη. Ο φούρνος, το αρτοποιείο, το αρτοπολείο, το ζάχαροπλαστείο, το σαντουιτσάδικο.
The first word you see is o fournos. Fournos just means bakery. It also means oven, which makes sense. The bread is made in the oven. So the bakery, you go there when you want to have bread usually, but they also sell things related to dough. So sweet breads, savory, some cookies, but no pastry or ice cream or something. The second word you see is the artopio. This is exactly the same as the fournos, but it's a more sophisticated word. This word comes from the ancient Greek artos, which meant bread. So in some places you see that they use the name fournos, other places they use the name artopio. But from now on, you know it is the same and they sell more or less the same things. The third word you see is the artopolio. You see again the ancient Greek word artos from bread and also the word polio, which comes from pulao. The verb pulao means to sell. So they sell bread. So what is this? This is again a bakery, but they do not bake it themselves. They sell it. So another place comes and delivers the bread and they sell the things. This happens many times in small villages or on the islands, that one central bakery will bake the breads and in the morning they go to all the local bakeries and they deliver the bread there, and then these local bakeries, they sell it. Then we come to the word zacharoplastio. This word comes from zachari, sugar, and this is the pastry shop. A pastry shop, first of all, is very convenient in Greece because they are usually open till midnight. And yes, when you go to visit people, you many times take pastry with you. So you don't have to be stressed and think about it in the morning. You can stop anytime, even till midnight, and buy your pastries and then go for your visit. In a pastry shop, you have a lot of choice. Greeks really love sweet things. So we will teach you more about it afterwards. But of course, you cannot learn all the names of these pastries, but we made a selection for you. And then the last word is the sandwich sadiko. This comes from the word sandwich, which is not a Greek word, obviously, but this became very popular also the last decade. So more and more sandwich bars are opening very close to train stations or harbors or also in the city everywhere. They sell the sandwiches that you know in Northern Europe, but they also sell some things you can find in the bakeries and some extra cookies. And the difference is that in a sandwich bar you can also order coffee to take with you or to drink there, or juices, etc. So it's a mixture of a bakery and a bar, let's say. Very convenient, and you see them now everywhere in Greece. What can you buy in a bakery or fournos? Of course, bread, ψωμί.
Το χωριάτικο ψωμί, με χωρίς σουσάμι. Το μαύρο ψωμί. Το πολύσπορο ψωμί. Τα παξιμάδια.
The first picture you see is the χωριάτικο ψωμί. Chorio means village. So this word comes actually from this word village. So the village bread. For example, you also say choriatiki salata. Probably you will call it Greek salad, but it's the same thing. It comes from the word chorio. So it's the bread that is sold the most or people eat the most, the same as the salad. So they call it to choriatiko psomi. The only thing is that if you buy it in a bakery, you will have to answer the question me or choris susami, so with or without sesame seeds. Susami, easy word to remember, and there are lots of breads with sesame seeds. So if you don't like it, then you say choris susami. This bread is also white, so always white. The mavro psomi. To mavro psomi actually means black bread, but as the picture shows to you, it is brown bread. There are different kinds of brown bread, of course, but the general term is mavro psomi. Some decades ago, it was not that popular. You only would find white bread, but lately every bakery sells mavro psomi, and there are a lot of choices. To polisporo psomi is the multi-grain bread. So a kind of mavro psomi, but with more grains. Also very popular nowadays. Polisporo comes from poli, many, and sporos, grain. So polisporo psomi. And the last picture are tapaximadia. You see it in plural because you never just buy one. These are usually packages of dried bread, so it is very easy to keep for a long time. You have to make it a little bit wet so it becomes softer to eat. It is, in English, I believe, rusk or dried bread. It's sold a lot, also used in salads and in the Greek cuisine, and very popular. Tapaximadia. In a bakery, they do not only sell bread, psomi, but also savory, almira, so salty things. Terpsi will again pronounce the Greek words for you, and then we get into more detail together with pictures.
Το κουλούρι, τα κριτσίνια, η τυρόπιτα, η σπανακόπιτα, το ελιόψωμο.
First picture you see is to koulouri. Well, we could translate it with a bread ring. The bread is actually soft inside, and on top you have again sesame seeds, susami. Nowadays you also have bread rings with mavro psomi, so the brown bread. Usually they are white, but it is also possible now to find koulouria with brown bread. The picture underneath are the kritsinia. Again, it is written in plural, ta kritsinia, because you will never buy just one. They go with the kilo, half kilo, 1 kilo, or a quarter kilo, and there are different tastes. These are bread sticks in different sizes, so it's harder than the koulouri, and there are different seeds. So not only susami, you have all kind of different seeds and tastes. So it's nice to order, let's say, half a kilo and just ask a mixture of the different kritsinia so you can find out which are your favorite for the next time. Then you see the picture of I tiropita. This is the cheese pie, not a sweet cheese pie, but the salty one. It is thou, and in the middle you have cheese. Tiri is the Greek word for cheese, usually salted cheese or feta. This is taken many times also as breakfast. You can find it in any bakery, but also in a sandwich bar, and also very popular. And underneath that picture you see the spanakopita. This comes from the word spanaki, which means spinach. So this is the spinach pie. And last picture is the eliopsomo. This comes from elia, olive. So this is bread with olives. You can find it in many bakeries. It's very tasty. Has a lot of calories as well. Usually bread, white bread with olives inside. As mentioned before, Greeks love sweets. So in a bakery you can also by sweet things. Terpsi pronounces the words for you and then we get again into detail together with the pictures.
Τα κουλουράκια, το τσουρέκι, το σταφιδόψωμο, η μπουγάτσα, ο λουκουμάς.
The first picture you see is τα κουλουράκια, which means the biscuits. Again, it is written in plural because you never buy just one. It goes with the kilo, so you ask for half kilo or 1 kilo or a quarter kilo, and most bakeries have a huge varieties of cookies. So the next picture you see is the tsureki. If you know the French brioche, it is very close to that. So it is a sweet bread. Difficult to explain. It's always white, it's sweet. On the picture you see the personal one, so it's just one for one person. But most of the times you see the bigger tsurekia. So they sell like a big loaf and then you cut slices. And now you see them in a lot of variations, covered in chocolate or filled with chocolate inside, etc. But the real one is just the plain sweet bread. The next picture, the stafidopsomo. This is actually bread with raisins. It's always white bread. So bread with raisins. And afterwards you see the bougatsa. This is something very typical Greek. It originally comes from Northern Greek, from Thessaloniki area. And when you go to Thessaloniki, you will see bougatsa places all over. So they only sell bougatsa. But there they also have a variation of the salty one. So you can choose there between the sweet, creamy custard bougatsa or otherwise the cheese bougatsa. So the salty one. Now, bougatsa is sold all over Greece. It is very popular, but usually you will find in the rest of Greece the sweet version. And the last picture is the loukoummas. This is actually like a donut. So it's dough covered in a lot of sugar. It is really a calorie bomb. Let's see what I got. So first of all, the koulouria. These are the typical koulouria you can find all over Greece on every corner or in the bowl. Of course, I just brought bread. In Greece they sell a lot of white bread, but they also have brown bread. And in Greek they call this mavro psomi. This is my favorite, a bougatsa. This is eliopsomo. Eliopsomo is actually bread with olives inside. I bought the typical spanakopita. Probably you have seen it in Greece. They also have the tiropita with cheese inside, but this is the spanakopita with spinach inside and feta. Really delicious for lunch, but also for breakfast. Loukouma, which is this one. And I also bought a tsureki. Tsureki is like sweet bread, so a little bit like brioche in French. We came to the sandwich bar, to sandwichadico. This is a place you are much more familiar with because in Northern Europe you have many of them. But of course in Greece they also sell maybe some things that you will not find in a sandwich bar in your countries. Terpsi will read first the words to you and then we will get again in more detail.
Το σάντουιτς, η μπαγκέτα, μαύρη, άσπρη, η τυρόπιτα, η σπανακόπιτα, η ζαμπονοτυρόπιτα, το τόστ, η πίτσα.
Also the word baguette obviously is not Greek, comes from the French word baguette, but used like that. And you ask again for mavri baguette or aspri baguette, the brown one or the white one. And the other things are usually things that you know, but in a sandwich bar you can also order a coffee or a smoothie or another drink. So you have the combination of a bar, not for alcoholic drinks, but for lunch or whatever. So the non-alcoholic drinks and coffees and a sandwich or even some sweets. The things you might not know from your country in a sandwich bar are the tiropita. You see a picture, the spanakopita and the zambonotiropita. These are three things that you also might find in a bakery. and they also sell it in a sandwich bar. These are the three words you might not know from your places, but all the other things, well, I think you're familiar with it. Now the pastry shop, ζάχαροπλαστείο.
Τούρτα, πάστες, κέικ, παγωτό, σοκολατάκια, μιλόπιτα, καρυδόπιτα, λεμονόπιτα, γαλακτομπούρεκο, σιροπιαστά.
There are many pastry shops in Greece, all over the country, and they have delicious things and a huge variety of all kinds of pastries. We cannot give you the names of all the pastries that exist, so we just made a very small selection. A lot of these things you will understand with the translation, like lemon pie, for example, you know what it is. But we gave you some pictures of those things that you do not really know what it is. You see there ta σιροπιαστά. This is written again in plural because you do not just buy one usually, but more of them. And this comes from the word siropi, so it is the pastries that maybe you see in Greek taverns also in your country, like the baklava or the kadaifi. They actually come from the Turkish cuisine, are also made in Greece and sold all over Greece. So also very popular in Greece, and of course they have their own recipes, etc. There are different names for any of these σιροπιαστά, but we cannot get into that because then we need a lot of vocabulary. But the general name is σιροπιαστά, and then you can just point which ones you want and try them. The word pastes is interesting because this is actually the name for pastry. So pasta has nothing to do with spaghetti or something. So it is pastry, mia pasta, and the plural is pastes. On the picture you see small ones because you have of course the pastries that are, bigger size for a person, but in Greece usually you also have this option of very small little pastries, so you can get a selection of different things and you can just eat different ones of different tastes. The word galaktoboureko comes from gala, which means milk. And this is again a kind of custard filling inside, like the bougatsa, but with a different dough on top. Sometimes you also see the kadaifi dough on top. So that's the galaktoboureko, very popular. You can also, buy the whole thing with many pieces together and give it as a gift. And then you see the karidopita, which is the walnut pie. This is something that is made very often at home, so people make it also at home, or also treated in taverns. So it is possible that a tavern at the end of your meal will treat you a piece of karidopita. Let's get into some useful sentences that you can start using immediately when you're in Greece. Terpsi will first pronounce them for you and then we get a little bit in detail.
Έχετε μία σακούλα. Αυτό τι έχει μέσα. Θέλω... Πόσο κάνει. Ευχαριστώ.
Well, it's time to use these sentences. And the first one is actually just the verb. Έχετε, do you have? And then you can say, for example, έχετε ψωμί, or έχετε μπουγάτσα, or έχετε παγωτό. You can ask anything. Do you have bread? Do you have bougatsa? Do you have ice cream? Etc. Έχετε μία σακούλα. Again, έχετε, so do you have μία σακούλα? Do you have a bag? Well, nowadays also you will pay for them, the plastic bags, but it's many times useful if you don't have anything with you to ask for a bag. And then you can say σακούλα. It can be a plastic bag, but also a paper bag. Αυτό τι έχει μέσα? This, what it has inside. You might wonder why I need this sentence. This is useful when you're in a bakery or a pastry shop and you see all these delicious pastries, and they have a lot of things inside. Maybe you're allergic to something, or you don't like chocolate, or you don't like a certain filling. So the other verb, θέλω, I want. Θέλω τυρόπιτα. Θέλω spanakopita. Just I want. And then of course very useful to know πόσο κάνει. How much does it cost? And the last word, ευχαριστώ, thank you. First of all, pasta. We mentioned it before. Pasta doesn't mean anything like spaghetti or Italian dishes. We said that it's actually pastry. If you want to say the Italian pasta, then the word is a difficult one. It is there mentioned zimarica. So don't confuse the word, because if you ask for pasta, they might look weird at you, or you might get a pastry instead of spaghetti. In Greece, there are many traditions and national holidays, and of course, celebrations. And this goes many times together with food and with sweets. So for many special days, they have special sweets, which you can only find that day, or even certain breads you can only find that day. For example, with Christmas, they make these delicious Christmas cookies. They are called melomakarona or kouraviedes, but you usually only find them during the Christmas period. Also, with Easter, they have the tsoureki bread with a red egg on top, the coquino avro, and they will give as a gift a tsoureki bread with Easter. And then we also have the lukumades and the lukuma and the lukumi. 3 words starting with luku. It is quite confusing. In the beginning, when I was living in Greece also, I never knew what was what. So we added a picture for you in your handout. You get a little bit a better idea what these 3 words are. So the lukumades are fried, and so it's dough and fried, and they add honey on top or cinnamon. The lukuma, this is what we mentioned before. You can buy it in the bakery, and it's the donut all with sugar around. And then you have the lukumi, and the lukumi in English they say Turkish delight. Don't forget, you have your handout, and all the vocabulary is mentioned there. You can go back to your handout and memorize everything, read everything again. That's it for today. I think that's enough for our breakfast. They are waiting for me at home. So I think we will have a very good appetite. Bye.